Okay, I'm calling to order the special meeting of the Art and Culture Commission on August 12th at 12:31 p.m.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Topping Adams,
Here.
Commissioner Haar,
Here.
Commissioner Vielbig,
Here.
and Commissioner Atkins is not with us today. Oh, I did not realize she was still on there, so we are also missing Commissioner Block-Welliver.
Okay, is that back to me? All right, cool. I would like to start with the land acknowledgement, if it's not too late to do that. The land that Eureka rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Jaojiji. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous peoples from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The city of Eureka acknowledges the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates the city's commitment to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. All right, going to number 2 on our agenda, approval of minutes for January 21st, 2025. All right, has everyone looked at our minutes from the January meeting? Anyone have any changes, updates, edits, spelling, or anything else? All right. Do I need a public comment before we get our, okay, cool. Does anyone want to move to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the January 21st, 2025 minutes.
I'll second.
All right, so, okay. Do I need anything after this? Are we just voting? Okay. I'm out of practice already. All right, everybody in favor of approving the meeting minutes from January 21st?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against it? No? Okay, we don't have anyone else here. Cool, all right, so that passes. We have no old business. Moving on to new business, 4A, participatory budget art proposal review.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Okay, so on new business, we have 2 items coming before you today. Both of them are art concepts for your review and approval. Our first one, 4A, is the participatory budget art proposal review. So just a little bit of background in case you're not familiar with the participatory budgeting process. This is a process that the city has where public funds are allocated by the city council for like direct participation by community members to decide what to do with those funds. The city council adopts the budget, and the people elect the city council. So most funds are indirectly allocated via the city council. This is an opportunity for the public to very directly participate in how these funds are being used. So we are currently working through last year's cycle for the participatory budget funding allocations. Recently, this program went through a little bit of a reworking based off of it was really challenging to get community members to come together in a cohesive way and get volunteers. So staff changed the program a little bit to make it a little bit smoother. And so now there are 2 tracks by which somebody can submit a project. An individual can submit a project, or a group of community members can submit a project. And when a project is submitted, it is then reviewed by staff and then by the Economic Development Commission for compliance with the program. And this particular proposal is coming before you today because it also involves art on city property. So your job today is to review the art proposal piece of it. Just a little bit of background. This particular project was an individual proposal by Mur da Silva for Ward 1. And flacking is the term used for mosaics in sidewalks, used as a type of repair that is also art. It's already been reviewed by our city departments for like concept and appropriateness and ensuring it works with engineering and all the different pieces that have to go along with the contracting, and making sure that it's a concept that'll work on public property. And it was also reviewed and approved by the Economic Development Commission. We've been having trouble with this showing up, so I just wanted to show you in case you weren't familiar with where Ward 1 was. Sorry, give me one moment to fix this. Okay, well, we'll pull it out for this piece and then we'll go back to the slideshow. So you can use, for those watching at home, or if you'd like to take a picture now, you can always use this QR code to go to a searchable map of the voter ward and check out specifically where your residence is, or where each ward boundary is for each city council member. And then specifically, Ward 1 is Councilmember Castellano's ward, and it generally runs from the western Eureka waterfront on this side. It has the boundary also on the northern waterfront down up here in Old Town, and then runs down C Street. So one half of C Street is in the first ward, the other half of the C Street is in either the 5th ward or the 3rd ward, and then you can see it stair steps down a couple of different streets, including Boone and Creighton. Touch on this a little bit, but generally the artist Marta Silva has proposed to do, it depends on the funding and the size of the different pieces. They'll be worked out with city staff, the final site selection. So we're proposing a concept today in front of you because she will be tackling a very specific piece of concrete that will have its own needs and design to it. But generally, it's going to be a mosaic, abstract, colorful, geometric design using tile. And here are a couple of more examples. This is inspired by an European artist, M&M, in case you wanted to look up more information on flacking in general. And I believe now is the time to open up public comment and then discussion and questions. And I have a suggested motion when you're ready, but I'm going to go back to these pictures and this description for you to look at while you're taking public comment and discussing.
Thank you, Sarah. Do we have any public comments? No. Okay. I have a question. Vaguely understanding the participatory budgeting process, and I wonder, not for this, but I wonder in the future for things like taking proposals for stuff like this, if when those opportunities arise, if it could be sent out to all of the commission members, as you know, some people are very aware and watch every city council meeting. Some people are not as able to do that. It just seems like it would be good for, you know, more community members to be able to see that there's these, you know, potential opportunities out there.
Absolutely, we can share that with the commission. I will note we this time did a big push on social media and a press release, and this particular word actually has 3 projects coming forward for it. So we did, with the changes in the program and then more outreach effort, we have seen a response in community projects, but you're right, we could always do more, and especially folks like you who are connected into the community, it would be really helpful to connect to.
Cool, thank you. Sorry, I guess that wasn't a question, it was a comment, but I'm now noting the lack of question mark. Leslie.
Yeah, to the chair. And just to be clear, the participatory budgeting isn't exclusive to arts related projects. That just happens to be what this one is, but there are some different groups looking at possibilities for it right now. Sometimes it's community groups that are kind of looking to create different ways for their neighborhood to engage around a certain, city event or neighborhood beautification or things like that.
I love that. And acknowledging that it's not only art, I just feel like, we've got so many different commissions full of people who have their different communities. I figure it could only be better to spread the word further. Once I see it, I'm all about sharing it on the socials. I just never saw it on the socials. Darn algorithms. Do we have any other questions from the commission?
I have some questions or comments on this. I love flacking. I've seen this in other cities in this country and abroad. I think it's a wonderful way to address the issue that it does address. But I would, the images that we're looking at are from the artist Eminem, right? Not from the artist proposing. And so I would want to know what their ability or skill level with mosaics is. This is not as easy as doing a mosaic on a piece of plywood or something that's level and things of that nature. Did we get any images from the artist of background with mosaic? And I have a second part question on, and again, this comes back to maybe more about the participatory budgeting. I was involved in some of the old school community mayhem of the past. And from what I understood, projects had to be volunteer driven. So in this instance, it sounds like it would be, we're paying the artist as well as the materials, correct? Which I'm fine paying artists, by the way.
Yeah. This came with a budget. I think it was $5,000 for
Okay.
this project. Is part of how it was approved through Economic Development Commission. We did not receive examples of MERS mosaic work, correct? We did not. No.
Okay.
It's a good comment.
Yeah.
Any other questions from commission? All right. Can we see the suggested motion? Anyone like to move?
I'll go for it. I move to approve the design concept Flacking Eureka, a participatory budget project for Ward 1 by Mir da Silva.
Seconded.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comment? Nope. Okay. All right. Anyone else need to talk about anything before we vote? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So that passes unanimously. Excellent. And then moving on to 4B, proposed mural at Dias Park.
Okay, so this is for the renovations that are going on at Dias Park. A mural is proposed for a wall on a restroom there. I'm going to go a little bit through the background of the project and then show you the concept. I also have we have some community services staff members who have been directly working on the project who will be available to talk and answer questions. So just a bit of background, if you're not familiar with Dias Park, formerly known as the 2030 Park, it has been renamed to the Dias Park and has been undergoing significant renovations. So the grand reopening of the park is September 13th, and the park is located at 2605 Pine Street. Renovations include the multi-sport court, various age play areas, ADA pathways and walkways, open space field, picnic areas, fitness stations, a new restroom building, new parking, and then upgrades to the ball field there, the Jacob Haney Field. And this is a picture of one of the new play structures that's already been installed. I will note that the park is not currently open to the public at the moment. You can drive by and see that it's almost there and it looks really tempting, but the grand opening is on September 13th. It's still an active construction site. This is also an overview of all the different changes that are proposed. I put a red circle around the area that we'll be discussing so that you can orient yourself. These are the play structures. This is the parking lot, the ball field, and then this is the restroom. And then specifically, we're talking about a mural on this side of this restroom. And then we're going to see a couple more pictures of the restroom itself so that you can see where it's going. I like this picture particularly. So the mural will be going on this wall right here. It's meant to be a focal point as you're entering from the parking lot. And then you can see all of the new grass and different play pieces that are already in place. So the mural concept is done by Mural de Silva. This is a larger image, and then we're going to go into a little bit more detail, but this is the image and then exactly where it's going to go on this wall. This is an initial concept by the artist. It is still open to feedback, and I think community services staff also has some feedback to change it slightly, but it won't deviate significantly from this. So this mural is a community paint by numbers project that's meant to be part of an activity for the grand opening itself. So if you wanted to participate in the mural, you would go on September 13th between 12 and 3 p.m. and be able to help paint this mural. The theme is a Eureka waterfront scene featuring egrets and salmon. It's meant to be bright and whimsical, and the colors are pulled from the playground surfacing with a focus on the colors in the playground, including blue and yellow. And at this time, I want to invite up community services if they have anything else they want to add about this project or answer any questions that you have before you open it up to public comment.
I'm Hannah Atwood, and I've been working on the contract with Mur. Yeah, we're really excited to have her art here at the park, and we're really excited about this first concept that we got from her. And we're going to be giving her just a little bit of feedback to maybe try to connect the top and the bottom a little bit more. And we're excited to get another draft and keep going with it. And we hope that if you guys are available to come help paint it on that September 13th from 12 to 3. Do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I love that the park is evolving. I've driven by it many times in anticipation, and I think this is a very appropriate project. But my question is, was there an RFQ or a call to artists, or did this artist just say, "Hey, I want to do this," or did staff just select this artist? Like, how was that process?
Staff did select this artist. We had a few artists in mind that just had the style that we were kind of looking for, and Mur was the one that we chose to reach out to.
I'm just curious why you didn't do an open call, because there's so many other artists that would probably also suit you. No offense to Mur. I guess I want to see a little more equity in the way our city spends money for arts, where others have options as well, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally hear that, and we'll definitely keep that in mind for the future.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I interject? I think part of why she was chosen was because it's going to be the community paint by numbers project specifically. And that's kind of what she's known for. So I think that's specifically why she was reached out to.
I mean, yeah, it definitely does like raise like, I don't know, some interesting questions regarding city policy and hiring policies and whatnot too. I mean, and it's interesting because I mean, you're so right, and I agree with you on the case of like there's so many artists who like would love to get a shot at that too. And then there's also a part of me too that's like, well, if we want to like see artists as independent contractors and small business owners effectively, then like at what point, like, you know, like that's almost kind of an evaluation of like the entire RFQ process for the city in terms of like how you choose who you hire. And I mean, it's like, are we making separate definitions for different classes of contractors at that point.
There's a financial threshold for for that process, and I'm fairly certain that this did not meet that threshold in terms of, but there is a very specific process for contractors. I believe it's $50,000 and over for the size of the project. I would imagine that that's something the commission could discuss in the future in terms of if there's a process around murals. You'd probably want to get some feedback from the attorney in terms of I don't think the commission can put requirements like above those of city council, but maybe just like guidelines could be put forward.
Yeah, and I mean, basically to yes and on what has been said. I would also like to see more community opportunity for things like this. I mean, even if it was framed as looking for an artist for a community project, what we're hoping for is community participation during an event, and at least we may have ended up with these same applicants that we know. We might have ended up with someone new that we didn't know is, fresh to town and has experience and stuff like that. It caught my attention when I was looking through the agenda for this meeting that both items that we were discussing were about myrrh. And I love myrrh, and I don't think anyone can possibly unlove myrrh. So definitely not about myrrh, just about two projects that, the other one was her proposal because she was paying attention. Awesome. This one was, I don't know. The word didn't go out as much about this one. So I'd like to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, a simple call to artists can solve that without going through the RFQ for the lower budgeted projects.
Yeah. Cool. Does staff have anything to add on this one?
No, I think we hear you. And like Leslie said, like if you want, we can bring this back as a discussion item in the future if that is something you wanted to consider more.
Yes.
Okay. Art going on city properties, which is what comes to us at this point, seems like the thing that we've been working towards for the last number of years. I think I've been on this commission for like 6 years or more than, I don't even know. I've lost track now. But like since before, some of the large things happen anyway. And one of those things has been, celebrating the larger art community. So we'd like opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely, I liked what you were saying there, Bernadette, about like even just a call to artists is perhaps something to be discussed, or guidelines around that, just falling short of the full RFQ process. Because I mean, like, just as someone who's waded through a lot of those processes before in the past, I'm like, oh, that's a whole extra level of commitment from staff at that point. I think that's why, for example, like you see those $50,000 cutoff points, you're not going to have an RFQ for a $1,000 plumbing job. But I think getting a bigger public call out, certainly, like that's some stuff on some socials.
Yeah, these are things we're always happy to help with and help get the word out and remind people about before deadlines. So use us. Cool. Yes, Leslie, I think.
Sure, to the chair. I think for discussion, this would want to come back, for a future agenda item. But something just to consider is for smaller projects, the amount of staff time in relationship to the call. And so I think maybe sort of like a minimum number of artists reviewed, or or something like that still addresses the sheer amount of hours it could take doing like a full call for a small project.
I don't know if I would agree with that, in the sense of when you have a call to artists, the deadline is going to already cull a large population that might not be able to meet that deadline in an application. There could be a very simple process of, like I do a lot of reviewing of things, some very complex, some not so complex, but if someone doesn't follow directions, their application is deleted, not, don't spend any more time if they didn't fill this part out or that part out, or they missed something and so on. I mean, I think the amount of artists who might apply isn't going to add a huge additional workload, but I think a first initial review to narrow down to maybe 10 or 15 that then you would sit down and really digest and maybe go from there to work individually with artists. Like they're not, maybe it's just show us what you are capable of, and previous work is enough to decide what you are looking for, what your intention is on a project, and then take those top 10, say, and go from there with, all right, now give us a proposal for this specific site at this specific, these are what our goals are and what we're looking for. And then from there, you might narrow it down to 1 or 3. I mean, I think that that's one way to deal with spending any city funds, taxpayer funds, to distribute jobs to artists all over our community. I think it's doable. I think it's worth a little bit of extra effort. I love these. Again, no beef here, but I would just really encourage that we are looking at the greater community, because even like Commissioner Topping brought up, Topping Adams? Okay, sorry. We haven't met in a while. I don't know. It might be somebody new, but there's a lot of people I think that are here that are still unknown because they don't have opportunities. And even people who are known who don't get opportunities. I think that that's something that we really need to be looking at when spending city funds to pay artists.
I would just jump in there real quick on that, because I mean, yeah, I was just thinking about it, like, I hear what you're saying, and also like I'm just doing the math based off of like having to do those kind of evaluation programs. I'm like, okay, like that process you just described is like 20 to 30 hours of extra staff time, and then I'm like, okay, well, the staff's already overworked on that end, but then also just sorry, like staff, love you getting paid, but also I'm like, boy, that's money that could also pay artists too. But I hear what you're saying in terms of like getting exposure out there, and I don't know, I'm just spitballing stuff out there because trying to think through this. I'm wondering if one thing to an idea to throw out there is if the city wants to continue having artists contracted to do stuff like this, which is amazing. I think like there's projects like this could be happening. Is that instead of having to send out call for artists for a specific project, and then having to go through that process for every project, that you're like, hey, we, the city, would like to just expand our stable of artists that we know we can call up and say, hey, are you available to paint a mural over on this street, like on this day? And like they know, like they have now 10, 15 people that they can contact because they went through the process once of just being like, hey, would you like to put your name out there? And then also the city could even be connecting people with other opportunities. Like someone now, like a business owner, a private business owner could be like, hey, I would like to paint a mural on my building. Who do you know who's available to do that? And then the city's actually, creating some business opportunities for artists that way. I'm just going to throw that out there as a...
And just to the chair, I think you want to bring it back to the item at hand.
Sarah.
That was the point I was also going to say. This is a great, robust discussion. We haven't agendized it, so I don't want us to get too far down this path and get away from and get into some public meeting act violations. So we will bring this back. We'll look into some options and talk to our team members about their processes and talk to our legal counsel and see what we can come up with based off of your feedback and discuss it more at another meeting.
Awesome.
We really appreciate all of our city staff. Just to be very clear, we think you all do a fantastic job. Okay, where do we have? What is next?
So if you have more questions about this specific design, ask those now. Then open up for public comment, and then come back for deliberation.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions about the specific design? I'm curious what the other commission, department, I don't know which one. You said there were some things that they were going to ask her to update about the design itself.
Oh, that is community services, and I believe Hannah touched on those that where they were going to ask. Do you want to repeat what you're going to ask for?
Yeah, so what we were going to talk to her about was trying to connect the top and the bottom a little bit, because they are a little bit separate right now, and we were going to leave that, how to do that, up to her, but that was kind of one of our ideas. And the yellow is from the playground surfacing, but I think our thought was it's a little bit dark, so we were going to see if she had some ideas for maybe some more vibrant colors for the top part.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Should I open it up to public comment? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Hannah. Do we have any public comment? Does not appear so. All right. Can we see the motion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the design concept by Maria Silva for the exterior bathroom wall at Dayas Park.
Seconded.
All right. Thank you, Bernadette and Calder. All right. Any other discussion before we vote? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That is unanimous. Fantastic. Thank you all. So it looks like we are moving on to item 5, reports and communications. 5A, Caltrans Clean California Programs Update.
So these next two items, we have been sharing updates along the way for you. So we're just continuing to do that as we move through these projects. Specifically for Clean California grants from Caltrans, the utility box project along the 101, which you've heard a lot about over the last 2 years, is finally moving forward. We have our contractor out there priming boxes. So he is preparing boxes for the next set of murals. Not all the boxes are being primed. Some artists are returning and doing a new concept or the same concept again. If you'll remember, a couple years ago, all of the artists that had murals on these boxes was given the opportunity to update their box and receive a grant to do so. And so those artists that didn't choose to do so, those are the ones that are getting primed in case you get questions about that. And I just also, because we're talking about art, and I really just want to highlight how much we appreciate and respect the murals that were there. And we really went through a long due diligence process to try and connect with every artist and talk to them about their art before we removed it. And if you do get questions in the community, please don't hesitate to point them my direction to connect about a specific box and how that process went. And then additionally, but before, we've talked to you about the Samoa Bridge and the murals on the pillars there, and the plan to add colored lights to those murals. That is officially done, so you can drive by at night. And this was another grant from Clean California so it adds more lighting under the bridge, safety, public awareness, but we also were able to make it a little bit fun so that the colored lights match the color of the mural for each pillar. So
It looks lovely. I've seen it.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, you live close by, yes. So drive by at night if you have the opportunity to. And those are the reports that I have for 5A.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I would love to see, even just like through email, a map of which boxes are getting redone, and if we have a timeline. Because like if we have an opportunity like to stop by and take some pictures, thank artists, whatever, and just also kind of gives us an opportunity to put it out into the public that this is happening. Celebrate the new ones that are going up and appreciate the ones that have been there for a while and are putting new effort into it.
To be really transparent with you, this project is incredibly time consuming. It's 32 boxes. So we will be doing a press release to let everybody know. Generally, it's the boxes on the 101. I hesitate to commit more time to making a separate map just because I'm working through getting through all of the communication with 32 artists and our requirements as it is. But I hear you, and we will do our best to keep communication open.
I would love personally to be put onto like the press release list that the city sends out, because I don't think I am. And I wonder if other commission members might also be interested in being on that, so we know what's going out. Some of it has to do with us, some of it totally doesn't, but it's way better for us to be aware of things when it's going out rather than people asking and like, oh yeah, there was a press release for that. I just didn't see it. So, Calder.
Oh no, yeah. I was just gonna say. I mean, like, I just, I mean, I really do respect your due diligence. I know that like y'all are always on top of just making sure that you're doing the very best. And I mean, 32 artists. I mean, even a dozen artists can be a hard lift to wrangle. You know, we're mysterious creatures. And I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think. I mean, admittedly, maybe I'm biased. I mean, in some ways, because I mean, I love all the art that goes up, but I also just I'm used to just within my own discipline, art being a very ephemeral thing too. So like, you know, none of the art I've made like exists anymore. So like, I'm glad it's getting a chance to like renew it if that's possible, and also like if there's new stuff that comes up, that's good. I think I don't know. I just think that's part of the process of the ebb and flow of art in a community.
Thanks, Calder. Anyone else have any questions before we move on to 5B, Eureka Cultural Arts District update?
Great, I can share that update. Let's see, and as you all probably know, Vahan Petrosian is still serving as the Eureka Cultural Arts District Manager. He has a big, exciting life project happening, so he's been working fewer hours this sort of last quarter. And so I've been taking on some of the extra planning and things. And so I have a few things to share. I think you're all aware that the Large and Visionary Grant pre-application process has been open for some time, and we've received only a handful of good applications for that, but some really good ones. I'm going to be sending out another sort of round call for proposals. We are looking at there's some pretty consistent themes in those that have applied, so probably tying in some of them together so there can be sort of a larger kind of like fanfare and programming and visibility around those projects. Let's see. And one of the things, we're looking at several kind of two big grants opening up in the coming months. One is working with Eureka Main Street for some Arts Alive based grants. And the other will be fall winter grants. And one of the things that came up in the prior grant rounds that we put out there was that some really great projects have been funded, such as there's going to be a big street festival in front of F Street and things like that. I'm sure Commissioner Haar would love to tell you more about that. You know, small working artists were not having as much success with those grants because of the way they were framed. And so we're looking at putting out some smaller, like $500 to $1,000 grants that will be more tailored towards working artists to really put more opportunities sort of in the hands of folks who are, you know, kind of on whose backs the district has been formed. So look for those to come. You probably know the Eureka Cultural Arts District shares a site there at 422 First Street, and there's likely going to be the opportunity for some pop-up shows and markets in this coming fall. Plans to be announced soon. The Leadership Council meeting is next Monday, the 18th at noon. That's open to the public for anyone who wants to attend, and for sure we already have great representation from the commission itself. Let's see, I am doing a little bit of preliminary work around creative crosswalks and intersections and street treatments in the Cultural Arts District. So meeting with city staff, Jesse Willer tomorrow, just to kind of start to look at the technical elements of how those things might work before we get too far into the visionary elements of how they might work. And let's see, and just to say there's the Eureka Cultural Arts District is contributing some funding and partnership to a Stories of Weegi project, which is collecting stories of the waterfront area from different vantage points. The Weout Tribe did approve partnering on that project last night, and so that will be moving forward. They are some of the programming is really centered around collaboration with the Weout Tribe, though the stories themselves will come from many different vantage points. The idea is to be collecting and sharing sort of lesser told perspectives of the Weegi waterfront. And I'm just going to throw in a small Young People announcement. Switching hats quickly, but it is, I think, pertinent to the Eureka Cultural Arts District in that this Friday there's going to be a celebration of some signs on the boardwalk that are Silatlik language signage there at the waterfront, sharing the words for flora, fauna, and some cultural objects along the waterfront.
I think you all are well versed in our. Thank you, Leslie. And I think you all are well versed in our Eureka Cultural Arts District, the ECAD. But for folks who may be watching at home, I just wanted to give a little bit of context in case somebody's tuning in for the first time. The Eureka Cultural Arts District is a district that's designated by the state, and then locally, the Eureka District is made up of 4 different partners. So we have the Ink People, the City of Eureka, Eureka Main Street, and the Weout Tribe are the 4 partners. And then there is a leadership council that guides all decisions for the district itself. And so Leslie, as the Ink People staff, is the primary thrust behind it because the staff for the district is housed under the Ink People. So in case we all wear a lot of different hats, so I just wanted to clarify for anybody who may be tuning in for the first time how it all fits together.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Looks like we are moving to number 6, oral communications. If anyone has anything to add about the F Street Block Party.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie, for mentioning that. So in partnership with Redwood Art Association, United Indian Health Services, and the Humboldt Arts Council, we were awarded a grant through the Eureka Cultural Arts District for a F Street block party on September 6th. It coincides with Arts Alive. It should be a lot of fun. We have, I think, already almost 30 vendors signed up, and lots of food, and all our partnering businesses will be working with us. You know, we have for many years, over 20 years, have talked about the F Street Arts Corridor. So this is kind of our first neighborhood block party, and really celebrating community of where we're at, right on the southernmost end of the Cultural Arts District. So it should be a lot of fun, and hopefully something we revisit and do in the future as well. So hope everyone comes.
Well, and darn the Ink People not being next door neighbors with that anymore. Sarah?
You'll also want to open up an opportunity for the public to comment.
Okay.
On just this is your open public comment period, not on the topics that you bring up.
Okay. And any public comments? All right. Any other oral communications? Okay, so we are adjourning this meeting of the Art and Culture Commission for August 12th at 1:16 p.m. I do not believe we have another meeting scheduled yet.
It'll be the next, that'll be your fall meeting, the next quarter. We don't have that date in front of us.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, staff. We're adjourned.